Big VTV, great to have you with us for a Thursday night. The hours are ticking down to round 4. Massive action coming up this weekend in Big V. Steve Chalmers joins me at the desk tonight. We had a little bit of fun last night, Steve-O, looking at the ladders as they sit in the youth divisions at the moment, and also some big calls after only 3 rounds. We're going to do the same tonight for the senior divisions. And let me preface this by saying, and I know what your answer is going to be, I know how you're going to respond to me, but after 3 rounds, history says, you know what history is, don't you? History says...
Definition is you.
Oh, thank you.
We got it.
History says, that was very good for you actually,
thank you.
that...
75% of teams that don't make the finals.
Oh, there you go. You know what I'm going to say. 75% of teams that aren't in a finals position after 3 rounds... 75% of teams that are in a finals position after 3 rounds will actually stay there.
The best part about that is you haven't had to actually read that anywhere. You haven't gone to any website.
No.
That's just information that you've stuck in your head since 1946.
Research.
And it's really, really good. It's helpful information for those viewers out there.
I've had the entire team down at Deakin University sitting there working on the mathematics behind that for me, so there you go.
The bottom floor of the library just crunching numbers, aren't they?
They are, amongst crunching other things. Division 2 women, here we go. Here's the ladder as it sits at the moment. Now, Craigieburn up on top, Steve-O, 3 and zip. They're the only team that hasn't lost a game, but interestingly Sherbrooke at the other end, 0 and 3.
Well, back into the competition, Sherbrooke, because I don't think it was too expected to be any different. Obviously they've had a couple of bigger losses.
Yep.
They've had one where they were competitive. They'll obviously look to get a win pretty soon. I think the interesting one is Collingwood at 1-1. I think they'll be a smoky in the next
They've only played 2
weeks.
games so far.
They could potentially have played 3, but one of the results may not have been brought in.
Right, okay.
But I think they'll be a smoky and they'll move themselves up the ladder fairly quickly.
The one who's in trouble there for mine is Coburg at 1 and 4. Long way back at 1 and 4. Yep. Long way back. Let's have a look at Division 2 men. There's the ladder as it sits at the moment. It's a little bit skew-if because you've got 3 in the mid-range there at 3 and 0. Obviously we need to do some work on our ladders. But anyway, the bottom end is important here. Melton, Maccabi and North East are all still languishing, Steve.
Well, I think North East is the asterisk there because they obviously were hurt in the pre-season, losing their import Cannon Burridge.
Yes.
Not coming back. Melton and Maccabi are the 2 that really need to get a wriggle on.
And Maccabi's got the big Mincy, Jared Mintz. Yep. He's in good form at the moment, so if they can get a few going around him, they'll be okay. Even at the top, Pakenham and Coburg, and again, we know the ladder's a little bit skew-if at the moment. This is the way it's showing and it'll sort itself out. But they've played 5 games, whereas that mid-range group, Wallen, Camberwell and Southern Penn have all only played 3 each.
Yeah, I really like the look of teams like Mildura and Southern Penn early on.
Let's have a look at Division 1 women. There's the ladder as it sits at the moment. Again, Casey and Camberwell in that 3-zip bracket. So don't read too much into that with Mildura and Chelsea at 3 and 1. But importantly, and again, we're waiting on a result here down at the bottom end. Warrandyte for me coming down from state champ. Just struggling at D1 level at the moment.
Had a little bit of turnover over the off-season, have Warrandyte lost probably their top tier talent.
Yeah.
And they're just needing that second rung to really step up and produce something special to record some wins.
Mildura, ominous signs at the moment. They've got another rebounding import, but Vanessa Power's been informed the last few games, as you'd expect. It's a really tough place to win up there, and they've had a good start.
Back to their best, aren't they? Usually you see this kind of form towards the end of the season where they really come into playoffs. But to start this hot, for their sake, they hope they just keep that going.
And having said that, that loss was at home and against Whittlesea. Whittlesea are 2 and 1 at the moment, and they could be a team to watch closely. Been very impressed. We expect Casey to be a front runner, but been very impressed with Camberwell start 3 and zip. I think that surprised a few people.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because certainly surprised me. I'm not sure about yourself, having come from Camberwell, having a little bit to do with the players, but to start undefeated, for their sake, hopefully they just keep that going.
Yeah, they've had some good wins. Let's go to Division 1, man. It's a big division, there's no doubt about that. There's the ladder as it sits at the moment, and I'm going to go straight to the top because I think they've got the best import duo in the competition, and they look very good at the moment, the Gators. Shepparton out on top, leading the way at 5 and zip. It's a cracking start.
I think this division in the early rounds really opened it up. You can see there's a handful of teams at the top that are really, really strong, and then there's a handful of teams at the bottom that are really struggling. And it's, you know, it's showing the cream of the crop against what's not really there up to standard at the moment. Really, really quickly. You probably see this at around round 8 or 9,
Yep.
sort of at finding each other's spots. But the top 4 or 5, and then the bottom 4 or 5, really finding themselves really quickly.
So there's 13 teams here, so it's going to be a top 6. I'm going to ask you one question on the D1 men's ladder. Sunbury, Melbourne Uni, Whittlesea, Latrobe City, all 0 and 4. Do any of them make the top 6?
No.
No, I don't think they do either. It hasn't been a great start. The big surprise for me is Warrandyte at 3 and zip. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Well, big inclusion there, Ayindi Spreewell into the lineup. I don't think last season they had an import. The year before they had Martino Brock.
Yep.
Something similar too. They were a really good side back then as well, and reaping the rewards.
Kesey, great start, Kesey as well.
Yeah, a little
Very
bit of a
impressive.
surprise as well.
Very impressive.
Calvin Enge out there doing a great job.
Let's look at state champ women. That's the way the ladder sits at the moment. Ringwood, Waverley, Hume City, Southern Penn, Knox, Sunbury. And then, of course, we go down to Bulleen at 0 and 4. Bulleen's still waiting for some players to come in. I think the Booth hasn't played yet, Sarah Booth.
No, but I do believe they got their first import playing last weekend, and that'll just take a little bit of time to sort of gel.
Anything else on state champ women?
I think Ariel Thomas coming back from McKinnon, we'll see them probably come off the bottom rungs. Keilor, probably about where they are, but they'll record wins. It won't just be a one-win season. And obviously Eltham once they get Alice Kunek back.
Is she coming back to play?
I'd assume so.
Let's go to state champ men. That's the way the ladder looks at the moment. Of course, it's a top 6 there. McKinnon, the only unbeaten team. But interestingly, from Blackburn down to Casey, which is 7 teams, 1 win each. It has been a very, very competitive start to the season across the board in state champ men.
Yeah, cracking start. As you see, it's 3 rounds down and everyone's already recorded a win. I think the next 5 to 6 rounds will probably sort the conference or the division out. Really liking McKinnon because I know it's always tough to get a win over Ringwood. You did that straight away. Ringwood 3-1, McKinnon just being paced by Dylan Stith, and then you've also got those other cogs underneath him.
So there's the ladders. That's a bit of a summation after 3 rounds. Those that haven't had great starts need to get a wriggle on. Those who have great starts are sitting in a nice position at the moment. Now, last night we had some big calls for youthies. Thanks for all the comments and feedback. We're going to do the same thing for the seniors right now. And I'm going to start off by saying this. I've just looked at the state champ women, so I'm just going to tweak this a little bit. We'll bring the state champ women ladder back up on screen for you now. The current top 6, Ringwood, Waverley, Hume City, Southern Penn, Knox, Sunbury. Now it's going to be a top 5 this season, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
The 5 is going to come from those 6. So I am right now wiping out Eltham, Keilor, McKinnon and Bulleen out.
Eltham, Keilor, McKinnon, Bulleen, done. So it's top 6. Yep, that's fair enough.
So what I'm saying is, if it's a top 5, it's going to come from those teams. I think
the top
the
6.
upper echelon has already got themselves in a position. That's my big call. It's a bit of a slap to Eltham, Keilor, McKinnon and Bulleen. Those 4 teams are probably sitting back right now and saying we're going to prove you wrong, and I hope you do. But right now, I can't see anything outside of those top 6 as they currently sit making the top 5. What will be interesting is if it is it a top 5?
Top 5, yeah.
What will be interesting is which of those top 6 miss out.
Absolutely, I tend to agree.
Would you like to make a big call on that right now as to who misses out from that group of 6? Ringwood, Waverley, Hume City, Southern Peninsula, Knox. Big call number 2, Steve-O. Which of those 6 will miss out?
We're 3 rounds down. I can't.
You've got to put one on the table. I'll put one on the table. I'll step up and say one, but I'll let you go first. Come on.
Because the thing is, I'm going to say someone, and you'll be like, all right, moving on.
No.
Okay,
I'll say one, but it's big call night, so let's put it out there.
Okay.
We both agree that the top 5 will come
Yep.
from those 6. Which one of those 6 will miss out?
Big call. I'm going to say Knox.
Really?
Yeah. What are you talking to make a big call?
That's a big call. I'm going to say Hume City.
Okay.
All right, so there you go. 4 big calls. Big call number 2, which effectively now is number 3. Shepparton will absolutely, with their eyes closed, make the D1 men finals this season. And I'll add to that big call, they're going to make the GF series.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, the first one you made isn't that big of a call. They're 5-0.
Well, I've added to it.
Grand final.
Bang, lock it in.
Big call.
Really? Do you dispute that? They won't make
I
it?
don't dispute that, but there's a handful of teams in Division 1 men that can all make the grand
Yes.
final, and it's going to come down to who's peaking at the pointy end.
Gators season.
Okay.
Lock and load, put him in there. I'm on the Gators bandwagon. That is a big call that I've just made.
it is.
But anyway, that's what the show's about. Okay, the next big call, and I think this is an absolute shoo-in, Steve. You can take us through it. It's a shoo-in.
Well, the first big call, this is part 1 of 2 of this call, is that...
Well, hey, by the way, I had nothing to do with part 2.
No,
Can I put that on the table?
Part 2 is on me.
Had nothing to do with part 2 of this.
Imports will take out the State Championship men, Division 1 men, and Division 2 men Most Valuable Player Awards.
Yes, agree with that wholeheartedly. It'll be an import in State Champ, and I don't know who they'll be, but it'll be an import in State Champ, D1 men, D2 men. I agree.
And then adding to that part 2, in State Championship men, right now there's a clear-cut favourite, and Dylan Stith will go back-to-back State Championship men MVPs.
Well, clearly I hope that he does. But
For your sake, yes.
anyway, okay, big call, next one. Take us through this one.
Southern Peninsula's Jazz Shelley
Captain,
will win Golden Hands of State Champ women.
straight out.
Straight out.
No one else in contention for it?
There's a handful in contention.
Well,
but
tell us a few
but
others that are in
Jazz-
contention. Ariel Thomas would be in contention, you would have thought.
Yeah, once she gets a couple of games under her belt.
Yeah.
But right now, Jazz is at the top, and there's a gap and then a handful.
Fairly good point guard out at Hume City as well, by
Yes.
the way. Okay, no
Led
worries.
the league in assists for a number of years.
Yes,
Nicole Zammit.
yes, Nicole Zammit, of course. And Meg Dargan's a former Gold Hands winner as well out there at Eltham. Okay, last big call. I don't know that this is that big, Steve-O.
Well, it's a fairly obvious one, isn't it?
I think it is.
We should have finished with a bigger one than this. We should have. This is a bit of a sour finish.
Well, it's about that great man up on the border. He's a great man. He never ever finds his way down to the awards night at the end of the season. I'd love to just see him there once to pick up one of his 36 awards he gets every year, but we never see the great man.
Maybe we can hold on to all of them, and then once he comes down, he can have all 75.
Well, he's absolutely racked them up over the years. But the last big call for the show tonight, Kelvin Henry, the great man with the headband up there at Mildura, he will lead D2 men in points per game this season.
Yes.
I think it's
Now, hey, before we wrap up, I told you that we'd finish on a really obvious one. There is something else we want to finish on. There's a photo.
It's not on my
There's
notes.
a photo that's come
It's
out
not here.
that I've been sent from one of your good pals.
It's not on my notes, Steve.
When you were over in the US work business.
Oh, here we go. Hang on, who sent this in?
Anonymous. We'll put the photo up.
Well, there's only 8 other guys with me, so one of them has,
There's
obviously.
8 other guys with you. They've all got bandanas and hoodies and stuff on. What are you doing? It looks like you may have been go-karting. But were you paintballing? Practicing
Did
for,
someone send that in?
Practicing for something? Like, what were you doing?
We weren't walking.
That's
We weren't walking into banks. I'll give you the tip right now. Yeah, well, it was a pretty good shot, wasn't it?
I don't see anything to do with that as part of your work business attire. Nothing.
It did go on the Big V expense account, by the way. There we go. Thursday night. I'll have a word to the boys and see who sent that in. Thursday night, done and dusted. Some big calls. A look at the ladders. We're only 3 rounds in. There's a long, long way to go, but things are starting to sort themselves out pretty quickly. Now, tomorrow night, we're back at the desk. Craig will rejoin us. We are looking at the biggest games in each division coming up this weekend. Round 4 on the way, and there's some absolute beauties coming up.
And I was going to say, from now on in, if you've got game of the round or you think there's some big build-up outside of the basketball courts, let us know. We'll pump it up.
Hey, can I just add one more thing?
Sure.
We've got a lot of milestones around the league at the moment, player milestones. Is there any chance you can tell us before they play the milestone rather than the week after? If you let us know, we'll pump it up. We love talking about our stars.
Beautiful.
Love it. There you go. Thursday night, getting out of here. I'm going to get my heat sock. I think they're called heat socks back on. Go and go-karting. See you tomorrow night.